The tactic that will make you win every single match if you do it correctly. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. And yeah, we are here in the replay. And I wanted to show this match to actually try to help you guys with a tactic that can actually be used in any aircraft. You just have to bear in mind that depending on the aircraft that you are flying, you might have a little bit more of a trouble doing this. It all comes down to the relative speed between your aircraft and the enemy's aircraft. Of course, here I'm using the MiG-21 MF, which is an amazing aircraft for this BR. You know, it's a 10.3 MiG-21, has the R60M, the normal R60, sorry, and it's nothing too crazy. But the thing is the way that you use this aircraft. It might be beaten by many other aircraft, like for example F5s in a dogfight or many instances, but the thing is this little thing right here, guys, the speed of the aircraft. This is a very fast aircraft, okay? And you have to use always the strengths against the weaknesses of your enemy, right? But at the same time, there are some general tactics that you can actually use that will make you win no matter what. So one of them is actually abusing the energy retention of any aircraft. Of course, this is going to become problematic if you are flying something like an Su-25 or an A-10, an AV-8. Aircraft like that will not be able to do this, okay? So bear that in mind, that you need to at least have an aircraft that it's supersonic in this BR range. For example, in the highest ranks like top tier, it will be a little bit problematic because of the missiles, and in the lower ranks it will also come down to the aircraft that you are facing. For example, MiG-15 can out-accelerate a Sabre, but a Sabre can, you know, have more speed. So yeah, here we have a normal you know, surprise kill that I did there with R60. The target didn't know that I was there. That was just a normal kill, nothing too fancy. Was deciding to go for the AV-8 there, but it was better not to do it. I decided to hold off for the missile shot on this F5. He was kind of in a side aspect situation, so it wasn't really a good option right there, right? But I just maintained it, of course, my turn over here, and after that I just tried to regain the speed because I lost a lot of speed. And what is the tactic? Well, try to maintain your airspeed as long as possible in the highest manners as possible. Here I did a mistake. I did a dirty shot here. Wasn't really, I didn't think the Harrier was going to actually go between me and the enemy, so yeah, it was a very bad shot. So sorry about that, really am sorry about that. But yeah, the objective was to kill the F5, and of course everybody attacking this target, he was actually losing a lot of energy. He eventually got killed. So here is just a normal match, but you will notice that once you are in the mix here, there's no really a real tactic that you have to use. I try to go for tactics that are basically people not paying attention to you. This is always the easiest kills, and the more kills you get, the more you can actually, you know, get a win. Here, for example, I decided to avoid the A-10, so of course the A-10 has the 30mm, so I will try to just avoid it on a head-on because it has a much better gun than mine to do a head-on. See the AV-8, the Harrier coming up. See the A-10 down there, waiting for the perfect moment, and yeah, he got killed. But the thing is that, did you notice how instead of going horizontally, I actually went vertically? This is one of the ways that you can actually maintain the energy, kinda, right? Of course, in every single turn that you do in any aircraft, you lose a lot of energy, but if you go upwards, you will basically change a little bit of the energy that you are losing for altitude, making sure that you can regain that energy afterwards. So it's basically changing actual energy for potential energy, and then changing back for potential energy into real energy, of course, using the gravity to accelerate. And here is where the tactics actually start. Okay, guys, so notice how there's an AV-8 over here, an A-10, another Harrier over here that actually shot a missile, and I deployed a flare. But notice how these two aircraft, the Harriers, I can even win a dogfight against them, right? But I have an advantage against them. I'm faster. So why would I actually turn? I see a lot of, I know this is kind of basic, but a lot of kills that I get is from people that are too obsessed with killing a target that is behind them, right? So I get behind them and they basically just remain there, or I mean basically, you know, me starting to turn with these Harriers to try to get a kill. We see another target here. So that's the thing. Here is where the tactic actually comes up. I mean, in a disadvantage over here. Yes, I still believe that the MiG-21 is superior to any of these aircraft, but I still have to be careful. It's 3 against 1. If I'm not careful, I'm dead. So think about it. What's the best option here? I have the speed, right? So I'm gonna just climb. I have power. I can actually outclimb them. So as you see a little bit later, all of them just ignore me. This is abusing a little bit of something that a lot of people get too anxious with you. So for example here, if they continue to actually go after me, I would be in a defensive position. Since every single one of them just return to the air base or try to attack another targets, nobody was actually looking at me. They just completely forgot that I was there. I don't know if the Harriers were actually going to land, but everybody kind of just forgot that I was there, making me be able to return and get a kill on the poor F3H, right? Of course, poor guy, but still, nobody was actually attacking me. And that's the thing about speed. That's why I love aircraft that have the speed that a MiG-21 have, for example, or the acceleration, because you can do this type of thing. You can maintain the energy and just basically go away a little bit. And I don't know, in the past 11 years, I see things moving towards a more consistent base where people are too anxious. They are too... if they don't get a kill right away, they just will ignore you. That's like the major thing. So if you can make them, you know, be a little bit impatient, making them lose a little bit of time, most of the time, 90% of the time, people will just RTB, they will return to another target and they will ignore you, making sure that you stay alive and you just do a 180 and get them by surprise. It's kind of funny how well this works actually. Here it's another example. I didn't think the A-10 was actually going to remain focused on me, so I will try to basically do the same. I will play on the actual impatience of the target, because he doesn't have the speed. So I just, yeah, look at that. He barely even remained 10 seconds behind me because he knows he doesn't have the speed, so he's just not gonna waste time, right? So I'm just gonna, I mean, he just literally, he just gave his 6 to me. Of course, if I turn over here, he can have the time to actually turn and do a head-on with me, but still, even in a head-on, even if it's an A-10 against the MiG-21, I'm still in a better position than I was, like literally 20 seconds ago, where this target was actually 700 meters behind me, and I was almost dead because he was trying to shoot at me. Of course, he was saving a lot of ammo, so I imagine that he didn't have a lot of ammo, but you get the idea, right? So he turns against me again, and I just, instead of turning, you know, towards him, I go a little bit away. So he was actually testing the waters, trying to force me into a head-on over here. See? Impatience. He doesn't have probably a lot of ammunition, a lot of ammo, a lot of fuel. And I just decided to go help my friendlies over here with the AV-8 as well, right? I know that there are at least 2 targets going back to the airfield to actually, you know, rearm and stuff. So I don't want to play with them too much. 2 against 1 over here. It's better than 1 against 1 and 1 against 1, right? So again, maintaining always my speed up and playing on the impatience of a target. So here, kind of a head-on. Didn't want to do a head-on too much, and just went straight to the dogfight. Of course, here I'm trying to just remain, you know, since I have this positive coefficient of speed, right, that I can just outpace all of these targets, and I know that I can outpace them, I can get into a dogfight, kill a target, or test the waters if he actually can beat me or not, and then, you know, get away if I'm in a bad position. I see an F5 coming up in the left side over here. I fire an R60, and he doesn't have flares, or he has, but it doesn't deploy them. You know, do some negative maneuvers there to make the F5 overshoot. That's why even, I mean, look at this. Look at this. The F5 is much slower than a MiG, but he doesn't pay attention that I'm at 400 kilometers, right? So he just overshoots. Of course, I need my speed again to be able to do a good dogfight, especially against an F5. I will just use the impatience again. So I have the speed on him. I'm just gonna out-accelerate him and wait for him to actually turn away. Not forcing a dogfight unless it's necessary. Look at that. He's wasting ammunition, he's wasting missiles, he's wasting everything, right? And I'm just okay. I'm actually okay. I don't care about it. He's just following us, he's way slower. I have plenty of flares, you know, I know that he fired 2 missiles. So play to the impatience of the target. See, I mean, he's turning away a little bit, trying to bait me to turn, or my friend over here that is on AJS is gonna return if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's this this F5, but still, yeah, he's coming up again, right? So he tried to bait me or us, right, into going into a head-on. But see how he's impatient. He's firing 2 missiles. He's firing from a very long distance with these guns. He's trying to bait us into turning, so he's very impatient. Why? Because he knows there is missiles here from the airfield. I was like with 1 minute of fuel, so I had to RTB right here. But yeah, that's why he's impatient, right? There's a lot of missiles, a lot of aircraft flying around. Of course, he's going to commit mistakes and commit, you know, impatient things, right? So instead of RTB or just basically returning, he decided to go straight to the airfield and get killed. So see how the impatient part, being anxious when you are playing, it's the best thing for your enemy, right? So in this case, we just, I mean, even with one man enemy, I'm maintaining my calm, just RTB, you know, staying with friendlies because I don't have the fuel to fight against an F5, and using, you know, that as a positive tactic against the enemy, you know. So yeah, of course I needed to refuel and get more missiles and stuff. But again, I'm gonna use the same tactic, always being well, you know, thought about my tactics, about my maneuverability, about everything. So the idea here to have the speed, to have everything to actually attack targets. So I noticed a target flying above us. I was actually trying to get him while flying straight up, but I just didn't have the energy, right? So I'm not gonna stall it out. I'm just going to recover my energy. I have a way better position in the performance of an aircraft than the Harrier, so try to use that, especially the airspeed and the acceleration. So I see another Harrier, and I'm just getting speed. I'm getting speed. The objective is to get speed, trying to turn without losing too much speed, you know, try to control your airspeed, and try to get people by surprise when you can as well, right? So here he was diving a little bit and going for us, firing missiles, of course. Very poor shot there that I wasn't going to be able to do, so I just didn't do anything. He was deploying a lot of flares, as you see, so no point in firing an R60 on him. For now, at least. And maintaining my energy, that's the objective. You have to maintain it. The energy is the name of the game. Here, for example, it's a clear example. He's completely focused on the A5 over here. He doesn't even see me coming. So situational awareness on this guy is completely, like, none, right? Why he's just not paying attention about everything? Because he's anxious about getting the A5 and ignoring everything else, right? So, of course, the A5 was pretty smart about just making him lose the energy and looking upwards instead of actually paying attention to the other targets, like me, that came and killed him. So again, I have the positive coefficient here on speed. I'm faster than him. I can turn better than him. You can see that he's not even carrying anymore. He's trying to get targets from the ground. I'm getting to a very, very fast accelerating position compared to him over here. So I know that my missile will have an advantage against him, not only in the normal range the DR60 has. Remember, DR60 is a missile that doesn't have a lot of range. So I wait a little bit more to have the confirmed range shot on the R60 and see how he just, he probably wasted all of his flares before on that, just out of fear that I was going to fire a missile, making him basically not have any flares anymore, right? So again, being anxious and impatient makes you get killed. Here, I just know one flare, it's done. 1, 2 flares, doesn't need to be a lot. He's flying, firing other missiles, and basically we won, right? So, of course, again, this is a lot easier when you are fighting aircraft that are slower than you. But even when you are flying a slower aircraft, use the enemy's impatience to actually win matches. And I guarantee to you guys that you will kill a lot more targets. I actually destroyed 7 targets over here, getting some of them, of course, by surprise, but at the same time, our team was going to actually lose this one. Our team wasn't, like, we only had these 3 aircraft, and we had basically like 5 aircraft over here. But because we played a little bit together, and I used a lot of the enemy's impatience and, being anxious and everything like that, I managed to actually play the correct positions to actually make sure that the enemies were always in one disadvantage. Every time I see a disadvantage by my part, I basically run away, make them get a little bit anxious on jumping the gun, on trying to turn away and everything like that, and then I will attack on my own terms. So this is the tactic that you have to use. Of course, it's a very broad kind of line of thinking, but try to use that in any aircraft and you probably will get a lot more kills. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe.